Let us sing Arti.
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Jayo Jayo Gaura Chande Arati ko shobha Jayo Jayo Gaura Chande Arati ko Anavitata Jagamana Lobha Nalitaye cham Vame gadadhar Nikate advaita shini Vasa chhatradhara Nikate Vasa chhatradhara Bosi ache gauracha Ratna Singha Sane ache gauracha Ratna Singha Sane Arati kore na Brahma Hari Deva Adi Devagane Narari Adi Kori Chamaradhulaya Hari Adi Kori Chamaradhulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Shadi Gaya Gaya Mukunda Vasu Shadi Gaya Shankha Baje Ghanta Baje Baje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarsala Shankha baje Ghanta baje Madhur 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 baje 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 Madhur 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 Shankha baje Ghanta baje Madhur 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 baje baje Ghanta baje Madhur 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 Madhura Madhura Madhur baje Madhura Madhura baje Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujjwala.
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Vadana Ujjwala. Gala Deshe Vanamala Kore Jalamala. Gala Deshe Vanamala Kore Jalamala. Shiva Shukanarada Prime Gada Gada. Shiva Shukanarada Prime Gada Gada. Bhakti Vinoda Dekhe Gaurara Sampada. Bhakti Vinoda Dekhe Gaurara Sampada. Gaurange Arati Shobha Jagajanamana Lobha. 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 Jagajanamana Lobha. Jagajanamana Lobha. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Jaya Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Nanda Radha Gokulananda Shri Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Gaur Praman. Let's sing Nashing prayers. Namaste Narasimhaya Narasimhaya Praladadaine Hiranyakashiporvakshaha Shilatanka nakhalaye Ito Nrsimho Parato Nrsimho Yato yami tato Nrsimho Yato yami tato Nrsimho Bahir Nrsimho Hridaye Nrsimho Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapate Amadim Sharanam Tava Karakamalabare Nakha Adbhuta Shringa Lalita Hiranyakashipo Tanu Bringa Keshava केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमल वरे नखा अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो धनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नृसिंहदेव 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 जय नृसिंहदेव सिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय श्री प्रभुपाद श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय गौर ब्रह्मानंद हरि हरि बोल थैंक यू Thank you, Bruce.
Transcendental weightlifting. Everything's got to be specially clean now, huh? million. Well, it's an IOU. Directions, I think. Can I get you for this one? Oh, you make it look easy. Yeah, you want to grab that ball there? This one? Yeah. Thank you, Master G. Where's Chris gone? He was here. So I'm really grateful. What are these like break?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, I'll just move this and I'll pray. Anybody see some water? Or not? Long for
What did you get it there?
this fast, this fast. You didn't hang it up.
I believe that room there.
Okay, I'll come up. Thanks, Doc.
Here,
Yeah,
just through there on the right side.
from here.
Yeah, from there.
Okay, I'll do Cyrus's feet so that
Okay.
they're disinfected.
There's an umbrella there, sorry.
Umbrella as well.
Yeah, on the floor just there, I left it. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
The picture?
Is that it?
That's it.
You sure?
Yes.
You want to double check?
No, I remembered myself as that intuitive achievement. Thank you so much. My poor mum was
It's quite a lot of people home.
I know.
Despite the rain.
Even at 7 o'clock Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, so many people. One man came his 75th birthday.
Mm.
And then along the last
Yayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Yayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Yaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vrayoyana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrayoyana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yayorada Madhava Kunda Vihari Yayorada Madhava Kunda Vihari Yaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vrayoyana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrayoyana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Munatira Vanachari Yayorada Madhava Kunja Vihari Yayorada Madhava Kunja Vihari Yaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yaya Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vrayoyana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrayoyana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yayorada Madhava Kunja Vihari Yayorada Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Sri Radhe Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Sri Radhe Yayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman 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 Yaya Gauranitai Yaya Gauranitai Yaya Gauranitai Yaya Gauranitai Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Gauravani Goswami Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunjavadi Paschataya Satarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Yagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tanta Kanchara Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Of my respect to the all auspicious Lord Ramachandra, the Lord of the Raghu dynasty and the husband of Sita Devi. Jai. I pray that I could say something that help you in somehow in your spiritual path. We're going to read today of chapter 7, text 4. Bhumirapo nalo vayu, Bhumirapo nalo vayu, Karnamano budhira evacha, Karnamano budhira evacha, Ahandakara iti jame, Ahandakara iti jame, Bina prakriti astada, Brina prakriti astada. Translation: Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separate material energies. Purported by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki Jai. I don't think it's working, you know? Thank you so much. I was trying to figure out how just like... Oh, now it's working. What a difference, yes. I was thinking, I'm chanting, but it was not... Okay. So I'm going to read it again, I guess, because the microphone was off. Thank you so much. I pray that I can say something that in somehow it can help you in your spiritual path. We are reading today the chapter 7, text 4. I should read it again. Bhumirapo nalo vayu, Bhumirapo nalo vayu, Kamano buddhirevacha, Kamano buddhirevacha, Ahankara iti yame, Ahankara iti yame, Brina prakriti atada, Brina prakriti atada. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, altogether these 8 constitute my separate material energies. Purport. The science of God analyze the constitutional position of God and His divine energies. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord, and His different Purusha incarnations, expansions, as described in the Sadvata Tantra. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansions assume 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates a total material energy, known as the Mahatattva. The second, Gardavakasaya Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Sridharakasaya Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading Supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the 8 atoms. Anyone who knows these 3 Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by the 3 Vishnus, expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations, Generally, one who does not know the signs of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of the material energy. According to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the verse under the discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. Even the Brahmayoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalist, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. There are no spiritual diversities in the Brahmayoti as there are in the Vaikuntha Lokas. And the impersonalists accept the Brahmayoti as the ultimate eternal goal. The Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all-pervasive aspect of Krisarakasaya Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the complete energetic person, and he possesses different separated and internal energies. In the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8 as above mentioned. Out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations, or the gross creations, within which the 5 senses objects are included. They are manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialist. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate goal, Krishna. The false ego, I am, and its mind, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 senses, organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation, called the Mahatattva. Therefore, from the 8 separate energies, the Lord are manifested the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject of the matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from the Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But the atheistic Sankhya philosopher with poor fount of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for the discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna, and it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. I'm going to say the prayers again because I said them when there was no microphone. Okay. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Goswami Iti Namine. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunjavadi Pachataya Satarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinavandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tanta Kanchara Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Offer my respect to los estudios, los Pishus, Lord Ramachandra, the Lord of the Raghu dynasty, and the husband of Sita Devi. Jai. I pray that I can say something that can benefit you in somehow in your spiritual path. So, in the purport, His Grace Srila Prabhupada was talking about the three Vishnus, Mahavishnu, Gardhodakasaya Vishnu, and Sridharakasaya Vishnu. So let's start by talking a little bit about them and explaining what do they do. They are like expansions of Krishna, and Mahavishnu creates the total material energy known as a Mahatattva. Gardhodakasaya Vishnu enters into the all universes to create diversities in each of them. And Sridharakasaya Vishnu is the all-pervading supersoul known as Paramatma. He's even present within the atoms. That's what the purpose says. So let's talk a little bit about Mahavishnu, also called Gardhodakasaya Vishnu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 1 expresses that like all the universes are generated from the skin holes of Karodakasaya Vishnu, of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is lying on the causal ocean. And then when all the universes are destroyed, all the living entities go back into the body of Mahavishnu. And then like you can think like how can we really relate to Mahavishnu, such a marvelous expansion of the Lord that like creates all the universes, like, and they emanate from his pores, and then after that, like all these living entities, they come back. It's difficult to think how can we relate to him, and then we can figure out that we can realize that like Mahavishnu is in the Panchatattva as Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is a combination of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So let's also talk a little bit more about him. So what happens with when these tiny parts come out from his body and they become like, he says, but Mahavishnu is lying in the causal ocean. By his breathing, all the universes are generated in seeds and gradually develop into gigantic forms with innumerable planets within each of every universe. And then what happens when everything gets destroyed? Then they go back, but none of them they lose their individuality. They'll still stay like each of them with their own consciousness, and when like by the Lord everything is generated again, the creation starts again, they all wake up from their sleep. Srila Prabhupada compares this to a man. When a man is asleep at night, he forgets himself, what he is, what is his duty, and what everything from his waking state. But as soon as he awakes from his slumber, he remembers all that he has to do and engages himself. So in the same way, when all the living entities that enter the Mahavishnu at the time of destruction, then where there's a new creation, they come out and they go to continue their unfinished work. So how to relate to Mahavishnu? So we relate to him through Advaita Acharya. Is the way we can, because by the wonderful mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya came into this world. Actually, it was like Advaita Acharya who called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but I mean it was kind of planned that they were going to come together, and so it's an incarnation. Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. He's not different from the Supreme Lord Hari, and his name Advaita means non-different. Since he promotes the cult of devotion, he's called Acharya. And he performs all the functions for the creation of the innumerable universes when he is Mahavishnu. And in his form of Advaita Acharya, he promotes the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says that he brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to this world by praying and worshipping Krishna with tulsi leaves and water, and calling the name of the Lord with loud voice. So there was a time when the cult of Krishna was kind of forgotten, and Advaita Acharya took mercy of the people and decided to pray for the Lord to descend again. And that's the thing about the pure devotees. The Lord cannot ignore the prayers of the pure devotee. So you can say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us all mercy and to start the Sankirtan movement by the mercy of Advaita Acharya. But it's not clear how did Advaita Acharya, how did he decide to come in the first place? I guess it was all an arrangement of the Lord that he was going to pray for him to come, that he was going to come first, so he can come after that. So that's the way we can relate to Mahavishnu. That is such an exalted expansion of the Lord that like creates all the universes from his pores, from his holes of the body. And then we can say like, then it explains in the purport that Gardhavakasaya Vishnu, that is the second Vishnu, enters all the universes to create diversities in each of them. Like it should be said that like Gardhavakasaya Vishnu expands from like the three Vishnus were like that. Gardhavakasaya Vishnu is Mahavishnu, and Gardhavakasaya Vishnu expands from Mahavishnu, and Sridhakasaya Vishnu expands from Gardhavakasaya Vishnu. So they're like the three of them are very connected. And from Gardhavakasaya Vishnu, a lotus stem comes out, and from that lotus stem, Brahma is born. But each universe has its own Brahma. So we need to consider that like there's lots of Brahmas. And Brahma creates all forms of living beings of different shapes in terms of their different desires, and he also creates the sun, the moon, and the other demigods. So you can say that like Mahavishnu creates all the universes, and Brahma helps to create the living beings, giving like that, because I mean the souls are already there, no? But like I guess the bodies. So it says, from Gardhavakasaya Vishnu, Sridharakasaya Vishnu expands. Mahavishnu is the original cause of Gardhavakasaya Vishnu, and from Gardhavakasaya Vishnu, Krisarakasaya Vishnu expands. So we talk about how to pray to him praying through Advaita Acharya. And now let's talk about the all-pervading super soul, Sridharakasaya Vishnu. So at certain point, that is very difficult to understand when the living entity, that is a spiritual being, wanted to enjoy apart from the Lord. So all this material creation was done by the Lord for the living entity to come here and try to enjoy apart from him. But because the Lord is also merciful, he comes with this rebellious living entity in its heart. So in each body there's two souls, the Atma, and that is the soul, and the Paramatma, that is the super soul. And the super soul is in everyone's heart, and he's the benefactor of the truthful devotee, and cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee. Krishna says, I am within everyone's heart, and I am giving remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So Krishna helps the devotee by giving them remembrance and knowledge so they can worship and go back to him, go back to the spiritual world, because the living entity is a spiritual being that is living in the material world. It's basically like a fish out of water. But the living entities, this type of energy, is an energy that can live there in the material world, and they can also live in the spiritual world. And they are choosing to live here because they want to enjoy apart from the Lord. So to the devotees, but Paramatma, he helps them to remember the Lord. But to the non-devotees, he helps them to forget the Lord. Because Krishna is saying, I give remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So he also gives forgetfulness to the living entities that want to enjoy apart from him and that they want to forget him. So the living entities are like marginal energy because they can live in the material world and in the spiritual world. And Krishna, he wants them to go back, but he never forced them to love him. So he waits in the heart as Paramatma to the moment when they realize that there is no happiness in sense gratification. And when that happens, the living entity starts looking for the Lord, and then the Lord starts revealing in the heart. So Krishna says in the Gita 7:25, for example, that I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by the my eternal creative potency, Yogamaya. So he never manifests to the ones that want to act like demons. People that want to, that forget about the Lord, that they don't want to have the Lord in their lives, they're behaving like demons. So Krishna allows them to forget him. He gives them the ability to forget him. As I said, like the whole material world is created by Krishna for the rebellious living entities that want to enjoy separately from him. And he comes to this world as Paramatma because when they are enjoying apart from him, he's just silent there in the heart, just observing. And then when they realize that they can only really be happy if they go back into their eternal position as servants of the Lord, then he starts giving them remembrance, and he starts guiding them. So Krishna gives us the independence of choice to love him or not to love him. We need to be in this material world for a long time to realize that there is no happiness in sense enjoyment. That happiness is when we realize that we are servants of the Lord. Enjoyment comes when Krishna is happy and satisfied with our service. So this is something that we have to realize, that this just cannot be, even if we are told, it doesn't happen. It is like some kind of awakening of consciousness. Only when our consciousness is more purified and we encounter the devotees and we begin doing devotional service, we start realizing that happiness comes when we go back into our eternal position as servants of the Lord, and we are happy when Krishna is happy with our service. But this sometimes, even if you are told, it is not clearly understood. It has to be lived. You have to awake this type of consciousness, by practicing devotional service, by associating with the devotees. My guru was explaining that, like, people that are in the mode of today I had actually class with my guru because we have Saturday class of like the Upanishads. So. With a group of spiritual brothers and sisters. So he was explaining that the people that are in the mode of ignorance, they are not ready really to understand Krishna consciousness. That you need to be in the mode of goodness in sattva to understand the mode of good, to be awake, to awake consciousness. And for them, the people that are in the mode of ignorance, what you need to do is just give them prasadam. So in that way, little by little, their consciousness will awake into the mode of passion and then into the mode of goodness. And in the mode of goodness, they are ready to awake their consciousness. So we can say that Krishna reciprocates with the desires of the living entities as Paramatma by giving them remembrance of forgetfulness according to their desires. So now we can think, how can we approach Paramatma that lives in our heart? How can we hear his voice within us? It is explained that highly advanced devotees can see the super soul in the heart of all living entities. They do not discriminate based on different material forms. So they basically they are aware of Paramatma. But us, we are very much covered, like to hear the voice of Paramatma in the heart. But the Lord is so merciful that he can give instruction from within, but he can also give instruction from without. What is the meaning of that? That we have our spiritual master. The spiritual master is the material representation of Paramatma in the material world. And we have the Sastra. We have, if you are not initiated devotee, you have Srila Prabhupada, that is the spiritual master of all the ISKCON devotees. So this is the way we can relate, and because it's very difficult to listen to instruction directly from Paramatma if we are very much covered. Sometimes it could be even difficult to differentiate between the voice of the mind and the voice of Paramatma. I remember in one of the classes, my guru was asked, how can we realize when is the mind, and how can we realize when is the super soul? And then my guru said, most likely is the mind, because you are just not advanced enough to hear the voice of Paramatma in the heart. So basically, the Lord is eager to bring us back into the spiritual world. So He knows that we are very much covered and not ready to listen to Paramatma, but He sends us like His pure devotees. He has given us the Sastra for us, and He allows us to have a spiritual master in this material world. So we can get guidance and find a way to go back to the spiritual world if that is our desire. So now let's talk a little bit about another of the aspects of the purport, that is the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego, the subtle body. No? So let's find out, first of all, what is the false ego. The false ego is the false consciousness under the impression that I am the product of the material nature. So that is to start just the idea of thinking that I am this body and this is mine. This is the false ego. No, this understanding that we are not, this belief that we are not the soul, this lack of knowledge that we are not the soul, this belief, this is the false ego. And then we can ask, what is the intelligence? So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually there's also very interesting. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Canto 3, also talks about the false ego. He says that this spirit of false lordship is called false ego. So this belief that that I'm the enjoyer is the false ego. It's also explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the Canto 3. But then in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the Canto 3, 26-29, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that intelligence is a discriminating power to understand an object, and it helps the senses to make choices. It's supposed to be the master of the senses, he says. It's supposed to be, because sometimes though the intelligence should be over the mind, sometimes the mind can win the battle, because it says, Srila Prabhupada says, it's supposed to be the master of the senses. The perfection of the intelligence is attained when one becomes fixed in the activities of Krishna consciousness. By the proper use of the intelligence, one's consciousness expands, and the ultimate expansion is Krishna consciousness. So the intelligence is really like a tool, a subtle sense, a very powerful subtle sense that can help us discriminate and make the correct choices, in our lives. When we see that we are not happy, why I'm not happy, why buying all these things is not making me happy, why my moods are always changing and I don't have a stable mood. So the intelligence is helping us to realize it's because I need to make a change. I need to change. I need to find another way because this way is not making me happy. And then when we pray for that change, it's when the Lord sends us as devotees, and then it's when we meet them. So then, what is the mind? The mind is another sense. It's a very powerful sense because the subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, and superego. So what is the mind? The mind could be it's a sense, a subtle sense that could be the cause of liberation or the cause of repeated birth. So can help us in our spiritual path, or in the same way can help us to stay in this material world. Arjuna in the Gita 6:34 calls the mind that he says to subdue it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Imagine, Arjuna says that. And Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, in the canto 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, in the morning one should beat the mind with shoes 100 times. And before going to bed, beat the mind again with the broomstick 100 times again. So this is the way to subdue the mind. Like he's there explaining it's very difficult to subdue the mind. But Krishna, he explains in the Gita 6:35, it is very, very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it's possible by suitable practice and detachment. So what is the meaning of practice? Practice of Krishna consciousness, practice of devotional service, and detachment of material enjoyment. Srila Prabhupada says that the cure for the mad mind is to listen about the Lord, to listen about the pastimes of the Lord. So this is the way we need to go our mind. Actually, like there was a beautiful class about the mind, about how to pacify the mind, given by His Grace, Radhanath Swami, and he was explaining that we need to offer the mind a spiritual practice to make her our friend. The thing is, like at the beginning, the mind would not accept. That's the tricky part. Would not accept waking up early. Would not accept doing so many austerities. Would not accept. So you have to find a way to negotiate with her. If you try to impose your will into it, it's not gonna go. She will win the battle. You have to negotiate and make her see through the intelligence all the benefits of the spiritual practice. So this subtle body is a material subtle body that and goes with us from one body to another. So today in the class with my guru, I asked him, and so we are meant to leave the subtle body when we leave this world. No, when we attain liberation, we are meant to leave the subtle body. But how can we go to the spiritual world without the mind and without intelligence? And then he said, in your spiritual body that is very much covered within you, you also have a mind and an intelligence that are appropriate for the spiritual planets. So this material gross body stays, and this material subtle body stays here when we go back to the Lord. So we have this gross body, and we also have this subtle body. And like liberation from the gross body means just transmigrating from one body to another. No, this is the way. When the gross body gets destroyed, we just get another one, according to our own desires. Liberation from this material world means getting out of the clutches of the subtle body. The subtle body is the one that brings us into another body and another body, but according to our own desires. But the magic of Krishna consciousness is that, like by chanting the holy names of the Lord, the subtle body can change. And it can even, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, the subtle body can help you find a body of a devotee. Imagine how amazing is that. So just by chanting the holy names of the Lord at a certain time, you can find that when you lose this body, the subtle body helps you to find another body of a devotee in the womb of a devotee mother, or in a person that will be a devotee, or in a situation where you could be a devotee. And So this is really like wonderful of like the holy names of the Lord, and how potent is the holy names. And also, even if you have attained perfection, if you are already perfect, you will just like leave the subtle body together with the gross body in this world, and you will just, be you will be uncovered, and you will gain. You are the spirit. That's what my guru said today. You are not realizing that you are the spiritual body. You are the soul that is covered. You are all of that. And what the experience that you're having right now with the gross material body and with the subtle body is just because you are in this material world. Okay, there is like 2-3 minutes more. I don't want to continue. I want you to ask me questions, because then it's like me speaking and it's.
I don't know. Okay, it's working. I was thinking about, it was a really nice class, by the way.
Thank you so
much. I liked how you explained all the different parts of the purport and elaborated on them so nicely. And what you're saying about the Paramatma was really nice, how to connect more. And I was thinking about the question you asked to your Guru Maharaj, that how do you know when it's Paramatma and how do you know when it's the mind? And he said, actually, usually it's the mind.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, what hope do we have? Is there any way that we can, how do we connect more to that voice of the Paramatma? Do you have any suggestion?
We are very covered, and we have to be aware that we are very covered. But we have the mercy that we have been told, and we have the mercy that we read the Shastra. So we believe that He's within us, and He is within everyone. So in the same way, the way I see it, that in the same way you connect with a deity, you can connect with Paramatma, because the Lord has entered the deity, and Paramatma has entered the living entity. Because that devotee care is so important, you see? Because we care very much about the deity, but we also need to care about devotees. Because Paramatma is within the devotees. So we can connect with Him by connecting with the spiritual master, because the spiritual master is the material form of Paramatma. We can connect with Paramatma by connecting with the deity, and by connecting with the devotees. Sometimes the devotees, Paramatma talks through the devotees, because we are so covered that we cannot listen to Paramatma within our heart. But sometimes, I don't know if it has happened to you, like a devotee is telling you, like recently, to Shamalangi Mataji, that she lives in my house, that we live together, she was told, you need to give class. And she was like, no, I'm not ready. It's not my service. You need to give, like she was told, you need to give Srimad Bhagavatam class. And she was like, no. I'm never giving class. Okay, start by the Gita, she was told. Okay, well, I'll start by the Gita. And then she gave class, and she liked it so much. So sometimes we get these messages, like over sudden someone tells us, you should be doing that service, And then over sudden you're like, what? Why is he, like right now, for example, like I'm the Gurukula, I'm working with Mataji, and I told her, like, I don't know why did I say this to her. How come you are in Krishna consciousness for so long and you don't have a spiritual master? You are in Krishna consciousness since 96, 98, and you don't have a spiritual master? How come is that? Like, and then she's like thinking, oh, then with that, I don't know why did I tell her that. Like I told her often, she's much older than me. But then now she's thinking, I need to have a spiritual master. I need to get serious about Krishna consciousness. I need to do this, I need to do that. So something like just to say, the same as Shamalangi Mataji, I want to do this service now of giving class because someone told her. So sometimes we cannot listen to Paramatma within our heart, but sometimes we get the message of Paramatma through the devotees.
Thank you. That's so interesting, because sometimes you can even feel the voice inside, but you're just kind of denying, like you're describing with Mataji. You know you should do something, or you feel
maybe there is a voice, but you don't listen to the voice.
But then,
you're not so sure,
Yeah.
But then when someone tells you, then it makes sense, because you were listening to that in your heart.
And then you're like, oh, okay, I have to do that now.
Even like giving
Because
class,
someone else.
like now I'm thinking like, I'm not gonna ask for my service back until I'm being asked again. So in that way, I will know if the Lord wants me to do it again. And then you came and you asked me, and you gave me the service again to give class. So it's, so it's just some things like that, you know, like, because how can I listen? How can we have to be pure devotees really to listen to Paramatma in the heart. It says that when you can see the Lord in your meditation, then you are a pure devotee. But we cannot see our Lord when we are chanting just yet. We just, at the moment, we are trying to concentrate in even producing a good chanting, not getting disconcentrated. Imagine like being able to see Paramatma when we are chanting. We're just not at that stage as yet. But the Lord is so merciful that He finds the way to give His messages through His devotees. Okay, so I think we have to finish. Thank you so much. Yes.
So Grace Mani Manjari Ki Jai.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.